This is about the Shapeshifter diminished 7 chord. In this video, and most videos like this, I'm going to present everything as we hear it on the modern piano, assuming equal temperament. In traditional music theory, when a diminished 7 chord is missing one note so that it has only 3, it is often called a diminished chord. The number 7 is omitted. Let's consider the 3-note C-sharp diminished chord as it is usually presented traditionally. It is taught in root position as a triad consisting of 2 major thirds above the root, and then it can be inverted, and each inversion is going to get a different name. If the chord is written so it loses its snowman form in root position, we have a huge naming problem. However, jazz and pop musicians have a very different view. In lead sheets, we don't care if this chord has 3 or 4 notes. If it only has 3 notes, we simply know that it is missing the 4th note. We don't care about spelling. We only care about what we hear and what we see in our hands. Jazz musicians and pop musicians simply use the bass note of this chord as its name regardless of the spelling and the number of notes. I teach this jazz-pop point of view because I find it vastly more practical. It also works great for analyzing classical music. Let's look at a C diminished 7 snowman chord with only 3 notes. It looks great for moving to an E-flat minor chord. Then if we add a 4th note, it works the same way. Let's rewrite this 3-note chord with 2 sharps. As you can see, this is a very practical and elegant spelling for moving to a C major chord. If we add a 4th note, it works the same way. Finally, here is the same chord for a 3rd time, but this time with both a flat and a sharp. This is a perfect spelling for going to a C minor chord, and it works the same way with 3 or 4 notes. How you spell this chord only matters when you are writing music, and even then, it only matters when you know what the next chord is. Now comes the rabbit hole. It turns out that when we use only 3 notes, we can be very fooled about what we are hearing. Let's go back to the C-sharp diminished 7 snowman chord missing the 4th note. Then let's add the 4th note so that it becomes a complete diminished 7 chord. Then let's make that go to an A dominant 7th chord, which is sort of what we expect. Let's once again start with the C-sharp diminished chord. But this time, when we add a 4th note, let's turn our chord into a half diminished chord. This may be a bit unexpected. Let's start with the C-sharp diminished 7 chord one last time. But this time, when we add a 4th note, let's turn our chord immediately into a dominant 7th. In this case, we never hear any kind of diminished 7th chord because it is obviously turning into an A dominant 7th chord that can be a 5-7 chord going to D major. So here is the takeaway. At any moment, an incomplete diminished chord can turn into 3 different chords. One is a true diminished chord, another is a dominant 7th chord, and a 3rd one is a half diminished chord. So when you have this 3-note incomplete diminished chord, you never know what it's going to turn into next. It is always a little bit of a surprise. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Leave me comments about anything you like, anything that you'd like to see in the future, and remember that I consider all suggestions.